Today we are in Orwell. It's a beautiful spring day and we are going to get a tour inside historic Brookside.
Well, I do want to demonstrate our doorbell.
I noticed this house just driving by.
Yes,
the fact that
people notice it.
you see it.
Yes, and you go, wow, where did this come from?
Yeah. Yeah, there's like this Greek temple in the middle of the farmlands of Vermont.
The original farmhouse was built in 1789. The Greek Revival portion was built in 1843.
1843 portion and the 1789 portions.
Almost 2 years ago, this historic property was bought by a married couple from Hawaii.
We were living in Maui. I was flying and Amber was teaching. We were kind of wondering, where are we going to live and, what are we going to do when we grow up type of a thing. And so
Adam is always looking at houses online.
Yeah.
That's a hobby.
I was looking at houses or boats or airplanes or whatever, as you do. So I showed it to Amber and she goes, oh, it's beautiful. It's 2 hours from where I kind of grew up, and but we can't afford it. It just kept coming up, and every time it would come up, it was $100,000 or $200,000 less. Finally we were coming out to the East Coast. The price had dropped down to something close to what we could maybe swing, maybe afford.
Your mom was actually the one who saw it first.
She gets in the house and I go, hey, what do you think? And she goes, you need to run. And about an hour later, she goes, actually, this house is really neat. And I think once you get all the junk out of it, it's got good bones and you should come take a look at it yourself. We basically put in a full price offer at their asking price, contingent on us taking a look inside. We hadn't even been inside yet. I didn't even know this door was here. There were so many boxes piled up. Didn't even know that there was a second door. Yeah, it's the music room or the parquet room. Everything for this 1843 revival, except for the hardware, was sourced locally. It's all trees from the forest, and history is really important to me.
And love historic homes and antiques.
And this house is just crazy ostentatious in 2023. And I can't imagine what people in 1843 must have thought. The locals must have just been, who are those Wilcoxes and the Cutts? And so the original people were Ebenezer and Thankful Wilcox. They sold 2 rams in Australia for $35,000. Coincidentally, that's what it cost to do this Greek Revival edition. The architect, his name was James Lamb, and we have his table, his architect's table in the other room. And he took a $50 out of his pocket from 1843 and he put it in the staircase. But then once the wool market kind of crashed, the house changed hands, and then they did the Morgan horses, and they made a lot of money. This was across the street. That was their proving track. There's one of the Morgan horses with its replacement behind it. And then a family called the Grangers bought the house in 1942, and they wrote this book. They put the plumbing in, the heating in, the electricity, and it had none of that until 1942. There was a businessman in Castleton, so he commissioned a replica of the house. The centerpiece of the Shelburne Museum is also a replica of this house. This is showing you some of the ongoing renovations. Yes. I've been working pretty hard in this room to bring it back to some semblance of glory. So the crown moldings in this house are all plaster, horsehair plaster. This is going to be what we're going to call our museum room, which will have the history of the house on display. So when people come and visit, there'll be photos and paintings by Kathleen Granger. That's where we keep our Oompa Loompas.
I was born in Hawaii, but I was raised in New England, so I missed the seasons. I missed just
We're both cold weather people, too.
Yes, we don't like heat.
There's
238 acres.
238 acres. You can't find anything like this in Hawaii. It doesn't exist.
We lived in a very cramped neighborhood, and everyone could hear you sneeze practically, and I just felt like this was so grand and so over the top, but also so exciting and so scary. So why not try it?
The little 3-room suite that we have on Airbnb, it's our guests. It's just where guests stay. There's the primo guest area. Oh, there's so many weird doors. This would rent for $1,500 in Waikiki. This is a finished room right here that has no access. This is like Winchester Mystery House. Right there when you're ready to go.
Come on, this door too. What I like about it is it has a bunch of rooms, and yes, I do like the kitty cats, and I like playing the piano.
These old houses are worth saving.
And bringing it back to life is also incredibly rewarding.
Like this wallpaper here is from the 1870s, and part of its beauty is the age and is the cracks and is the imperfections. So this would have been the original wallpaper from 1843. So I'm a pilot. One of the many thousands of pipe dreams we have is to put in a little grass airstrip across the street. We have a little Cessna 172 that we bought before we even bought a television set together when we were dating.
We bought a plane.
We bought a little airplane.
Trained to be a classical singer, so an opera singer, and then I also have been teaching for over 20 years. And I went overseas and taught in Dubai and Vietnam.
There's Joma. Hey, buddy.
Hi, he's from Vietnam. I didn't move here until October of this past year. I moved first because I moved here with 8 cats, with 8 rescue cats.
Bruiser was born in a transmission housing at an air museum in Hawaii in a helicopter. Amber and I bottle fed him from day one. And Gandalf the Grey, but we just call him GG.
We rescued many, many cats.
They built 100 of these for the Chicago World's Fair in 1933. I played in the military bands for years. This part of the building was, the local lore says it was a Masonic hall from about 1850 to 1970. Gosh, you can almost just see the lake over there, but not quite. Most of the house just feels like a very well lived in, lovely home, you know? It's not so ostentatious as it looks from the outside, and it's also not as big as it looks from the outside. We're back in the colonial part of the house. You can see the ceilings are lower, fireplace is taller. These are the famous horses from this property, Ben Franklin and Addison Lambert. Yeah, this room has 7 doors in and out, but this is the craziest butler's pantry you've ever seen, and it used to be a 2-seat outhouse, a privy at the end of this. This is like the worst of the rot in the house. Other than that, the house is pretty solid, and fortunately it's built in a cantilever style, so these columns aren't structural. The beams run from the attic out, so, you know. The house was built around the sunset, so it faces due west, and it's awesome. When we're literally putting down roots, we are planting 1,500 grapevines. We want to start a vineyard, and then we think this room would make an excellent tasting room. Like I said, we have 1,000 pipe dreams.
If you'd like to see inside, they do offer tours. There's also an Airbnb suite that you can rent. I'm just glad that they're restoring this historic space. And we will get stuck in Vermont with you again real soon. They just don't really make them like this anymore. You know, they might be kind of secretive, so you might not even know when a fairy comes around.
I didn't know that there was water in there before. There wasn't, and maybe last night a fairy came over, put water in there, and took a little bath.